Hello bag makers, this is Susanna from Hold It Right There Sewing Patterns. Welcome back to my tutorial video series for my Tremont Crossbody bag. To make this bag, visit my website linked below to purchase the sewing pattern. In my previous video, we went through the steps for creating the exterior, and in this video, we will create the lining. Locate lining panel back A, interior zip pocket K, and either your prepared 8-inch zipper cut from continuous zipper tape or your 9-inch or longer purchased zipper. You will also need a ruler and a pen. On the wrong side of the lining panel back A, draw a 1/2 inch by 7-inch rectangle. The rectangle needs to be centered 2 1/4 inches from the top edge, and as before, crease your panel at the top to determine its center and either cut a tiny notch 1/8 inch or less, or mark it with a pen. Place the lining panel right side up, right sides together. Place one of the interior zip pocket pieces centered 1 1/2 inches below the top edge of A. And again, determine the center of the zip pocket by folding it in half, either notching it at the top center crease or drawing a line with a pen. Pin the interior zip pocket in place to the lining panel A. Complete the zipper pocket following steps 6 through 10, except do not sew the bottom edge of the pocket. This will be kept open for turning the bag right side out. My previous video on the exterior walks through the steps for sewing in the zipper pocket on the outside. This is done in exactly the same way, except that the bottom of the pocket is not sewn shut. Locate card pocket J. Refer to the fold lines indicated on the card pocket pattern piece J and the measurements in the diagram on step 31. Before I transfer the fold lines to my fabric, I am first going to notch the top center of my card pocket J. This is covered in step 32, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. It is very important, if you're using fabric without a directional print, to cut a tiny 1/8 inch notch at the top center edge of your card pocket to distinguish it from the bottom. The way I like to transfer the fold lines onto my card pocket piece is by keeping the card pocket J folded long side to long side along that center crease, and then drawing tiny lines where marked in diagram 31. Then I go back and snip each of those tiny fold line markings, and I'm snipping through both layers of my folded card pocket J. The snips are about 1/8 inch or smaller. Next, I unfold my card pocket J, press out that center crease, and then fold where I've snipped. I iron creases at each of the fold lines, pressing the fabric wrong sides together. If you haven't done so already, mark or notch the top edge of your card pocket J. With your card pocket J wrong side up, draw a line 3/4 of an inch from the top raw edge. This line will be very important when we join the card pocket to the interior slip pocket. On the wrong side of your card pocket J, center one strip of interfacing directly below each fold line crease. Fuse the 4 interfacing strips. Flip card pocket J over again so the right side is facing up. Beginning from the bottom, crease along fold line 1 and top stitch close to the fold line on the right side of the fabric. Then repeat with the remaining fold lines, top stitching along the crease. Refer to pattern piece J once again for this step. Beginning from the bottom on the right side of the card pocket, bring the fold line 1 to meet placement line 1. If you wish, mark 3/8 of an inch below each fold line to help with the placement of the card pockets. Bring each fold line to meet its placement line on your card pocket and press. I typically fold my card pocket piece without this measuring of the 3/8 inch, just eyeballing it, and it works really well. Just be sure to refer to the illustration in step 34 or your card pocket J pattern piece. Locate lining slip pocket I. Place right side up. Draw a line with your washable fabric marker 1 1/4 inch from the bottom edge. Turn the card pocket wrong side up and upside down, so the previously marked 3/4 inch line is now at the bottom. The top edge of card pocket J is now facing you. Align the raw edge of the card pocket top with a line drawn 1 1/4 inch from the bottom edge of the lining slip pocket. Pin or clip in place. The top raw edge of J matches up with a line drawn on I. Sew along the line drawn on the wrong side of the card pocket. Refold the card pocket with the pockets evenly spaced, approximately 3/8 of an inch distance apart. Align the remaining raw edge of the card pocket with the bottom raw edge of the slip pocket. Pin or clip along the side and bottom edges. Using a 1/8 inch seam allowance, sew along the bottom edge and along the left and right side edges. For this step, I find it helpful to use my walking foot attachment of my sewing machine and to sew beginning from the bottom, working toward the top. This way I'm sewing in the direction of the card pocket folds. Wrong sides together, fold the lining slip pocket I, matching the top and bottom edges. Pin or clip along the side and bottom edges. Top stitch 1/8 inch from the folded edge. Baste along the side and bottom edges using also a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Locate lining center H1. Place right side up. Place your prepared card pocket lining slip pocket unit on top of the right side of the lining center H1. Match the bottom raw edges and then pin or clip along the sides and the bottom. Baste the side and bottom edges using a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Locate lining sides H2. Place right side up. Right sides together, pin or clip the long straight edge of one lining side H2 to one long side of the lining center. Pin or clip in place. Sew using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Sew the second H2 lining side to the H1 lining center as you did the first, pinning or clipping, and then sewing 1/2 inch seam allowance from the straight edge. I've now sewn both lining sides to the lining center, so I'm just going to give this a nice press to flatten out the seams. Top stitch both lining sides 1/8 inch from the seams. Locate lining bottom H3. Right sides together, pin or clip the bottom edge of the lining bottom H3 to your prepared H1, H2 unit. Sew using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Give the lining panel a good press where you just joined the seam. Top stitch the lining bottom 1/8 inch from the seam. Locate the 8 accordion gussets G. Right sides together, pin or clip a fabric 1 gusset to a corresponding fabric 2 gusset. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew along the short sides and the long slanted side. Do not sew along the long straight side. Repeat with the remaining pieces to create 4 gussets in total. Trim the seam allowances close to the stitching. Turn the gusset right side out. I use a letter opener to help push out the corners of each of the gussets. A blunt pair of scissors would also work well. Press each gusset well. The 4 gussets are prepared and we're ready to attach them to the lining panels. Locate your prepared front and back lining panels and place them right side up. With a pen, mark 1 inch above the bottom left and right notches on both lining panels. With the fabric 2 sides together, pin or clip the raw edge of 1 gusset at the marking on the lining panel. Sew using an 1/8 inch seam allowance on both sides and then repeat with your remaining gussets and lining panel. This completes our tutorial video for the lining for the Tremont Crossbody. In my next video, we'll install the double pull zipper and assemble the bag. Thanks for watching. Happy sewing!